So I want to introduce Bill Squadron, who's the Executive VP of Stats for BSports. And Bill's a longtime friend of mine, and he's also been a longtime supporter of SABR and particularly of the Analytics Conference. Bloomberg Sports, where Bill was before this, and now BSports have been sponsors of the conference since we first started and have been a big part of making this conference what it is. So now I just want to introduce Bill.
Thanks, Mark. And to sort of try to clear up the confusion of all the names, Bloomberg Sports was recently acquired by Stats and is now the BSports division of Stats. So that's really where all the different names come from. But whatever the name is, the one thing that I think we feel really great about is having been part of this conference from the beginning. And I just want to congratulate Vince Gennaro, Mark Appelman, the whole SABR team for what they've created here. I mean, I remember when we first got started 4 years ago, it was a great idea on the part of the SABR group, and we were very pleased to be a part of that. We were sort of getting started ourselves, providing services to major league clubs around data, analytics, scouting, and player development, and we were pleased to be part of that. That first conference got off to a great start, probably close to 200 people, but now it's up to nearly 500, growing every year with phenomenal programs, great participation in the research and case areas. So I just want to congratulate everybody and say how proud we are to be affiliated with it. That history is something that we also are looking back on now that we're evolving to be part of the Stats organization. Bloomberg began its efforts in the baseball industry as part of a desire to take the core technology that Bloomberg had developed over the years to do advanced analytics and data for the financial world and really bring that over to the sports world and provide the kind of next level and next generation of analytics for teams, for broadcasters, for fans through fantasy and so forth. And we learned a lot over the past few years. And when your ambitions are high and you're trying something new, you certainly hit some bumps, and we did. We talked a lot to clubs. We got a lot of feedback from them. A lot of it was good. Occasionally we got some suggestions as to how to improve what we were doing, and I think we have learned a lot. We've certainly made a lot of changes. We understand that we need to listen and to do things in ways that really suit the needs of the clubs. And very much like what we heard Curt Schilling say earlier, one of the things we focused on is how to create systems that are user-friendly, that don't overdo it in ways that make it hard to use, and particularly for players. And one thing that I'm going to show you in just a couple of minutes is an iPad-based video system, much like John Kruk was referring to, that is taking off in terms of use among players, coaches, front office. And it is directly a result of having listened carefully to our customers, to the baseball community, and trying to design something that would be easy to use but very valuable in terms of the kind of information it delivered. So I'll show you that in just a couple of minutes. I do want to take a moment just to touch on the developments that have affected our company and our ability to really expand and strengthen what we're doing for the baseball community. By being part of Stats today, Stats, as I think probably everybody here knows, is the largest and most successful sports data and analytics company in the world. And that's been great for our team from Bloomberg, because what it has done is give us the ability to access a tremendous lineup of sports-savvy developers and engineers, both in the United States and outside, as well as access to data and a team of analysts far beyond even the group we had at Bloomberg. And what that's allowed us now to do is to accelerate the work we're doing, put the platform into a faster and better supported mode. And so, our goal, really our dream when we first got started, of being able to deliver to the baseball industry the most advanced set of analytics and data and video, which is the part I'm going to touch on next, we feel we're getting closer and closer. We do today work with most of the major league clubs, as well as a number of clubs in Japan, but we feel we're really on the precipice of kind of cracking the code that we set out to do 4 years ago. And now as part of the stats organization, I think that's going to help us get there even more quickly. One of the things that being part of this organization is clearly signified is that there's going to be a very strong emphasis on technology. Having acquired Bloomberg, Stats has now recently announced the acquisition, another company within the umbrella of Automated Insights. And I don't know if that's a company familiar to many of you, but it's a fascinating technology-based company. And what Automated Insights does is it creates natural language versions of data. So what the technology at Automated Insights will do is look at any data. It can be a box score, it can be a quarterly financial report, and it can create a prose summary or recap or description of what that data says, and it does it automatically. So for those of you, for example, that play fantasy football, and if you get the summaries of your performance in the past week, that's coming automatically from a company, Automated Insights, that's looking at that data, looking at your past record, and it's now preparing to do that for fantasy baseball. So what does that mean in terms of what we're trying to do for major league clubs? Well, it means that you can take a big volume of data or an immediate volume of data, let's say minor league box scores across your entire organization in the previous evening, and by the next morning, actually by an hour after the games are over, you can get a recap of what everyone's done, tying it into what those players have done in the past, because it does create a context, because it's looking at not just that immediate data set, but placing it in the context of the full data set. Or it can look at a scatter plot of pitches across whatever kind of time frame you want to look at, and create a narrative in natural language that describes for everyone in the organization what that data does. So instead of having to dig into charts, graphs, large spreadsheets worth of data, it can create for everyone a very succinct, very accurate summary automatically, and can do it day in and day out. So we're going to be working very closely with the people at Automated Insights to see how that technology can be incorporated in what we're doing in order to make our system more valuable for the front office coaches and others who are using it. So I do want to, though, move to the thing that we're particularly excited about, because video is something that we've always felt is a critical linchpin of the overall system that we're trying to provide to the clubs. We've been working on a comprehensive video system for a couple of years, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But the one piece that's really taken off is what we call, let me just get this on here. Oh, there we go. What we call our pitch review system. Now, this is, I can show it to you here, so you can see it on the iPad, but what this is a system that allows players to access any video, any matchup, and all of the filters associated with it. So what do I mean by that? Well, I have mine set here to C.J. Wilson, and what the system does is it automatically brings up, they have a game coming up, I guess, what's today, on Saturday against Kansas City. So it loads up the lineup for the Royals. So if C.J. Wilson were actually using this and he opened his iPad, it would know who he was and would know who his next opponent was and would automatically load up that lineup. So then what he'll do is if he wants to prepare to pitch to, let's say, Alex Gordon, he just taps on that and the system loads up all of the pitches. I've got it set just to last year, all of the pitches that he threw to Alex Gordon last year. And then what you can do is any number of things in order to prepare. So if you want to go full screen, then you tap it and you can see the video. If you want to go slow motion, you can do that and freeze it. Okay. Now then, one of the things that's particularly compelling about the system is that it allows you to filter in any way you want. And these things are very simple to use. One of the things that is critical about this, of course, is that it's very user-friendly. And so let's say he just wants to look at the curveballs that he threw to Alex Gordon. You just hit that, and now if you look here, I don't know if you can see this, but if you look at the area where it says pitch type in the middle, we've loaded up only the curveballs. Okay? You can find similar filters up here if you want to filter it by, when he got Gordon swinging, or when there was a ball in play, or a filter that says, what kind of hit came out of the at-bat, or what kind of hit. In other words, was it hit on the ground, was it hit in the air, and so forth. You can apply any of these filters. So if you're Wilson, what you're able to do is look at particular situations, and when you think about what Curt Schilling said earlier about tendencies and so forth, this allows a pitcher to break down the pitches that he's thrown to each particular hitter that he's going to face in his next appearance really easily. Now, you can also look at the data, because the tendencies are something that we realized would be very important to each player. So here, this breaks it down. I'm sure it's very hard to see up from there, but what this says is what kind of pitch Wilson throws in different situations, depending on the count. And you can then, of course, add men on base and things like that and apply the filter. And, you know, a lot of this is not the kind of thing that you can automatically refer to in a game situation, but as players prepare and they're thinking about a particular situation, they say, well, let's say tomorrow I'm going to face Wilson and it's going to be a full count. What does he typically do in that situation? What's that tendency? And you can find that right here very easily. So if we go back here, the other thing that I wanted to show you is that it also allows you to really break it down. So if you press play for the hit here, let's see, you can actually tap it and go, whoops, and go to the next one. And you'll be able to go frame by frame. So in other words, it allows you to, there we go, really break it down and, of course, freeze it at any point in the pitch for a pitcher to study it. And, of course, the same thing works in reverse, if you will, as a hitter. If you're Alex Gordon and you open this up on your iPad, it would know who you are. It would be your picture in the corner. It would load up the rotation and the bullpen of the team that you're going to face next. And then you could tap on any pitcher and see how the pitches that he threw to you over the past whatever time period you wanted to set it to. Now, if you haven't faced a particular player, what you're able to do is view any matchup. So if you look at the bottom right corner, it says View Matchup. So what that means, if you're going to face a pitcher who you've never faced before, but you want to see how he pitches to players like yourself, you just load in a player, another batter, and you'll be able to see how that pitcher has handled a hitter who may approach hitting similarly. Now, I've just loaded up, Steven Strasburg and David Wright, but what this demonstrates is just how you can really put in any matchup you want, and then you can get all the information and then play those videos. Once we rolled this out, we began to realize, of course, what the limitations of it were. So the first thing we heard was, well, we'd like to be able to look at this on a plane, and most planes don't have internet access because this video is streaming from BAM. One of the things we've done over the years is maintain a very close working relationship with the people at Major League Baseball Advanced Media. We have a very strong partnership with them, and this video comes directly from their servers, but with no internet access, what do we do about that? So one of the things that we built into the system was a download capability. So players can download as many as 200 pitches before they get on a plane, and then as they're flying to the next city where they're going to be facing their next opponent, they can be studying that while they're on the plane. Then as we began to get a lot more interest from coaches, one of the things they asked us was, suppose we want to take a selection of pitches for a particular hitter to look at as he's preparing, or for a pitcher to look at preparing for the next day. How do we do that? So we built into the system an email component. So what it allows the coaches to do is to select a variety of pitches and then email those pitches to the player and say to that player, here are the ones that you ought to study for tomorrow's game. So we've added these things, much as Curt Schilling and John Kruk were saying earlier, by listening carefully to what we were hearing from our customers and then trying to build it in. And of course, the thing that makes it most compelling, and I think the reason we're now getting teams buying this for their entire organization, front office, coaching staff, and the players, is the ease of use. Because you don't have to load anything onto an iPad from a video system in a clubhouse. This is all you need. You can be sitting at home, you can be sitting in a hotel room. In fact, you get back to your hotel room after a game and you want to take a look at what you did right or what you did wrong. It's downloaded within 20 minutes and it's right there. So, you can be waiting for a plane, you can be really anywhere. that you have internet connection and use this system. So the ease of use is proving to be something that's tremendously valuable, and what we're seeing now, it's funny how things take a little while, but I think some of the features we've added made a big difference. It took a couple of years for the word to get around and for people to understand how easy to use it was and the utility of it, but we're now seeing kind of club after club want to engage in this for their entire organization. But it's only a small piece, and this is what I'll finish on because we're excited about it. It's only a small piece of the final kind of step in what we're working on, and that is a complete video system that will be in the home and away portfolio of clubs. It'll allow clubs to access all of their own cameras. It'll allow clubs to ingest video from any source, whether it's a phone video that Scout takes, or whether it's broadcast video, any camera angle, to then combine that with analytics, to have it available immediately after each pitch. And that system is one that we're working on with a club right now that's going to be using it for this season, and we'll have the final touches completed so that all clubs will be able to test it by July. And we're particularly excited, and I guess this was what Mark was referring to, we've just recently entered into collaboration with, in my view, one of the top video engineering firms I've worked with over the years, which is a company I'm sure many of you are familiar with called TVTI, based in Oregon. And we've recently worked out a collaboration with them, and we're very excited about that because we believe that's going to strengthen our video engineering resources, strengthen our ability to deliver and support what we're doing with the clubs, and I think it reflects the level of commitment that we have to really making this the best possible system for everyone to use. So with that, I mean, I'm happy to take questions if anyone has them. I'll be around for the next couple days and happy to talk to any of you, informally about the things we're doing. But again, I do want to close by once again congratulating SABR on what I think is a phenomenal event and one that we're very proud to be a part of. Any questions? No? Well, anyway, thank you very much. And like I said, I'm available anytime.